Thank you, guys. This is the most real behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs going on here in Las Vegas. We have a full studio again of people that I know, familiar with, people that have a lot of.
I'm glad you know them because these guys are all strangers. Who the hell are you, man? Look at your hair.
If you guys haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button, subscribe, make some comments. We got the chat channel going on. Today we're going to talk about a lot of information with real estate. Talk about, obviously, some financing news. We're going to talk about cryptocurrency versus what's happening with the stock market with Brett. Also, how inflation is going to impact the cryptocurrency market. And we're going to talk about investors and how big investors are coming in, buying up a lot of properties across the country. And it's some interesting data out there. You know, you got a lot of investors out there. We're showing or seeing a lot of people getting really bought out by or losing out to investors with cash buying, big investors, and it's a continuous problem we're seeing across the country. So first off, let's go ahead and introduce my guy here. He's the property management. He's the best that we have in Las Vegas, and everybody knows him. He's on channel what, 8 or 13? 13 channel news. Yeah, he was just on there. So what's going on, Mr. Rick Raines, everybody?
Good evening. Hey, for those of you who don't know me, I grew some hair over the week.
Yeah, man, you look like that guy off of Back to the Future. He looks like
Doc Brown. Doc Brown.
Yeah, Doc Brown.
I don't know, Doc. What do you think will make that time clock?
What's going on in your world, man? How's life?
I decided, most guys, they use Rogaine to grow their hair. I wanted to do it a little faster, so I used Rogaines to get this done.
Wow. Hey, you know what's funny, man, is I actually started using Rogaine, and I was like, I tell you, it's working. And it was like a month later, and I felt like there was some sprouting going on, right? And then it's like, after that, my girl's like, I think you're just wasting your money. So,
it's like a chia pet, but for humans.
Stem cells, if you want your hair to grow.
Oh, stem cells.
Yes.
Okay.
Stem cells.
Everything's about the stem cell research now, huh?
That's it.
Because I can say I've used Rogaine for years, and I don't think it's worked at all.
That's why you got to go Rogaines.
Mr. Brett Jenny's here. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? You were just cruising in this. It's raining like cats and dogs here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I took the side streets, so I'm still a country boy at heart. And
is it different though? Like you're from Wisconsin, so is it different when people are driving in Vegas versus
absolutely?
Yeah. Why? I mean,
I love Las Vegas, but people can't drive out here, let alone in the rain.
They don't freaking know how to turn their windshield wipers on.
So that's why I take the side streets. I'd rather take an extra 20, 25 minutes. I don't care, man.
The freeway was great
it's
today.
Just, man.
Yeah. I mean, versus driving, it's safer to be in the freeway.
No, the freeway was great. This is the easiest drive I've had here in like a month and a half.
Not the side streets. I'm talking Sunset all the way down from the west side.
It moved back. Hey, it moved.
Well, you're going to have to fix it. You're going to have to try to fix it like this.
Anyways, man. So it's raining out.
Which does not happen here very often.
No.
So let's get right into what we're going to talk about, guys. All right. So a lot of investors are buying up properties. Investors bought 18% of homes sold in the third quarter in 2021 here. Big investors grabbing up billions of dollars. I think it was like upwards of 60 billion, I think, that they purchased in investment properties.
Wow. Do they have that categorized at all? Like private label buyers versus hedge funds versus
they don't have that, but they're saying that a lot of these investors are cash buyers and hedge fund or big investors, group investors.
They're buying them at a time, like
they're buying
multiple ones.
Correct. And so you're looking at it. So Zillow, Open Door, and OfferPad sold 22,964 homes.
In Nevada?
No, across the country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's a big number, right? And you're seeing, well, how many people are really occupying these properties, right? Like, what is the number? So I did some data research. Millennials are doing a lot of the buying that are moving out of state. We were starting to see that, right? Also, 140 million housing units in the U.S., 126 million are occupied, 85 million are owner-occupied, 41 million are renters. So that's not a bad number, but you're starting to see a number that's really, increasing for investors and investment buying here in. I know we talk about this a lot. Yeah. This is really starting. This is data. This is starting to come out. What do you guys think? I mean, you guys think this is going to be a real issue? Because look, 85% of single family single family U.S. rentals are owned by investors.
Yeah.
I would say
what's
somebody
that
that's
called?
not a mom and pop, right? Somebody that's pulled money together.
Like 10 or more, or
Yeah,
They were
more
doing
than
this.
three.
Well, they were doing this data
more.
10 or less.
10 or less.
10
Okay.
or less.
Okay.
Okay. So that's that's if you own 10 investment properties or less.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're in this market, Rick.
I don't think that's out of whack. I think it's probably been reasonably close to that for years and years and years. And the reason being is that in Vegas, just looking at Vegas, we have a gazillion rentals here. And if we look at the number of apartment complexes as compared to the mom and pop single family homes, you're probably looking at, from a percentage standpoint, somewhere around 80% or 85% investor and 15 to 20 mom and pop.
Do you have a lot of people that are investors, though, that you're representing, like, say, for property management? Like, do you have big investors that are hedge fund investors, or yours more mom and pop?
All mom and pop.
All mom and pop.
But the mom and pops can own up to 100 to 150 units too. I've had those in the past.
don't usually a lot of the bigger ones have their own
Yeah,
management?
they've got their own management companies. That's why I'm saying these large apartment complexes.
Yeah.
They hire their own managers on site.
This market's looking good to them. It's been looking good to them for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that people who are coming in, who are not coming in with cash, especially anything below 400, they're having a much harder time right now.
Rick?
So a couple months ago, about 3 months ago, I had a firm reach out to me regarding a purchase of about 350 units at the corner of Cheyenne and the freeway.
95.
There. And we used to manage.
Yeah.
We used to manage those in the 95. We used to manage those, and I know the owner very well because I managed a lot of his properties. And this group was coming in from San Francisco, San Jose area, and their idea is to buy up these. What I would refer to personally as lower income area properties. They're going to go in there and they think that they're going to rehab them completely, put in pools and do all this stuff and turn an average $600 a month rental into a $1,600 to $2,000 a month rental in an area that doesn't support that type. And we're both, the owner and I were just chuckling about this, whether or not it was actually going to go down. And it's like,
Do you think they're actually going to?
They were working on it hard.
Jesus.
And it's like they don't know the area. That's one of the things.
Why would they make a decision like that without?
They just they're blind. They've got too much money, and their idea is that they're going to go in and change the dynamic of the community in that area, and then probably buy up more large complexes.
I mean, I get the theory,
That's,
So look, you got
what's
investors
happening.
just coming in and blindly putting in offers just to get anything accepted, and they're just going all in. So how does that affect the average buyer? When we talk about it, even the secondary home, if you're out there and you're a mom and pop person that's trying to buy an investment property and you got to go up against that, I don't know if I don't see how many.
It's different. It's a different animal. We're talking 350 units at one time.
Right.
So a mom and pop aren't doing that. So it's completely different.
Well, let me say this on a 350 unit building, right? You have to. How does that work? Like when somebody wants to walk me through the process of how somebody would put an offer in, or kind of go through the issues of like, okay, we want to see if we can get this offer accepted. It's not multiple offers competing against each other, right?
No, it's one offer for the 350. This happens to be 350 condominiums that used to be in a huge apartment complex. It got divided up years ago when we got into it. I was managing it as in receivership for the courts, and so they go in, they make an offer subject to all these different parameters that they check out, which have to do obviously with building codes and what it's gonna cost to revamp and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff that they look at, and that takes a lot of time when you're talking about these investment groups. And so the last I heard, which was about 3 weeks ago, it was coming to a finalization as to whether or not they were actually going to do it or not do it. So
but they look at it, the sole purpose of these deals is the return on investment, right? Their ROI,
Right.
and it's per door, right? Per door, and it's also, does it cash flow? Because it's different than getting a traditional loan. You're not getting like a loan for an investment property, and they're like, okay, what is your W-2s and your, or your tax
But you got to
return?
remember, these guys have investments all over the country.
Right.
So their cash flow, as far as what they need to make, is looked at more on a larger scale than just necessarily that one project.
Some cancel out the others.
Right. Some cancel out the others. So if they can make a bid or make a statement as to how this is going to work over the next 5 years or the next 10 years, odds of them getting the bucks are pretty good, especially if they have a track history. If they've got a track record of positive investments and it working. Hey,
I got a question for you, and you've been on this show quite a bit, and I'm just curious. Why would you? I'm not saying it's like you just like are not wanting to, but why would you not want to go into representing, say, a 350 unit building, something like that, versus a mom and pop? Is the return for you not there?
The return for me is there. The problem is that when you're dealing with high-end investors like that, it's a completely different mindset. And the other thing is you have to be set up to handle on-site management.
Sure.
Now, in many instances in the past, I went down that route, and a lot of times it's a hard route because all of a sudden you're trying to manage people that are all over the city as opposed to just being in your office where you can handle things in a matter of a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's out on site, it can take, you may not find out about stuff.
It's a whole nother
for
animal,
for 3
man.
weeks or 4 weeks, and all of a sudden you're behind the shit wheel, and
It's just a different world.
It's a different
Most
world.
people will never see that world.
You
I'm not
gotta
going to
be
say,
set
but
up for it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a different,
I've
completely
been
different
there.
animal. Yeah.
I've been there.
But they have
and
people that actually live there that work there.
they have to
right?
live on
be
site,
that kind of
yes.
level
On-site
of-
res-
and
resident
then
managers.
you have to manage the on-site resident managers. So
Yeah.
it's completely different.
So
Now, and so where does this leave people,
we need
right?
we need the market to loosen up.
Well,
we need a lot more inventory on the
need more
market.
inventory.
That's a simple. That's your answer.
We need
right
builders
there.
to build. We need builders to
We
build.
just need
'cause
more
we've got-
inventory.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't have an answer. I don't know when.
If
but
you
that's,
build it,
that's
So
the
is that
answer.
the answer to everything? The inventory has to increase, maybe,
Inventory has to
and then
increase.
rates. have
Maybe
to
not the
suppress-
answer to
'cause-
everything, but it's a good start.
Okay, even if inventory goes up,
Mm-hmm.
rates still have to be stable or start to kind of come down a little bit because it's going to freak people out
Yeah.
to go buy a house at this price and then have increasing rates. I'm not buying in this market.
I think that even if interest rates do go up, and you know this, usually you're not going to go from
They're not gonna
3% to
jump
4.5%
overnight. Yeah.
overnight. It's
They'll
going to
go
take a year. It's going to
gradually.
take a year and a half. It's going to happen slowly. And I think it's like anything. Interest rates go up a little bit. Initially, people freak. Then they realize it doesn't really affect them all that much, and then they go back into buying.
Rick, what do you think, man? What is
is
your
usually
thoughts
what
on this?
So when I worked for several large national firms, and one of the things that was pounded into my head was that sales cure all problems. So from a real estate, from a
That's true. That's true story.
Makes sense.
okay. So the idea behind that is really simple. All of these problems are solved with an increase in income. It doesn't matter what the interest rate does. It doesn't matter what the sale prices
Right.
does. It doesn't matter how much supply there is. It doesn't matter. All of these things are solved by one simple thing. If their income rises, sales solve all problems.
Right.
So that's really where the issue is, and it's going to take a while for income to rise in order to solve all of these problems. In the meantime, I think that all these things that we've discussed in a small way is going to make a small impact, but it's still not going to be enough until income rises.
What I want to say is that when you look at the appreciation on where we're at today, where the average list price is at today, you brought it up already. Single family residence is $420,000, and the average list price for a townhome or a condo, put that in the same category, is about $253,000. So prices are increasing, and it's not getting any easier. People always say, "Should I buy now?" I don't know. I mean, that's a case by case. We bring this topic up all the time.
You're
but-
a cash investor. $250 is very advantageous for a townhouse
Yeah.
because you're not going to get that much less for rent on it than you would a residential. And your average price is $250 per se, $420, $430.
So
That's a no-brainer, man.
So are you going to get less? Yes, you are per square foot. But here's the interesting thing: as the size of rental properties decrease, the amount of money that you make per square foot and what you can charge goes up. That's why you have a lot of people that have been termed or called slumlords. They buy the smallest unit possible, and relatively speaking, they make the highest return on this on small units.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
really?
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, look, we have some guys that do a lot of data and look at things, right? And we'll end it on this. But one of the guys that was on here, Aldo Martinez, right? He was the guy that was back.
Oh,
on.
yeah.
He
President.
said he was the lowest amount. He said it would be like 6% appreciation next year. But
That'd
we
be
had
the
a guy.
lowest.
That,
No, I said 3 to 5%.
I know. There's 4 people though that are experts,
And they say,
I'm sorry.
I didn't know you were an expert. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't see your
forgot to
name
get
on
my
there, but
expert degree.
there was somebody there that was like in a.
Yo,
like
I'm a PhD in School of Hard Knocks, brother.
isn't that why he's on this show? This is the expert.
Oh, wow.
Real estate is how do you do a deal, guys? Is that difficult?
But the highest person that was looking to do to tell them about like what the appreciation would be, they actually do a new homes sales data. They said it would be appreciating. The highest would be 11%. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
All right.
So let's go ahead and talk with you about property management because
5 to 10.
we need to be on clock and on time, right? So let's do it.
So one of the things I wanted to bring up today, because we're talking about whether or not people are going to be able to afford, and whether or not, at least as far as the rental goes, whether how much is too much, so to speak. And so I was cruising around, and believe it or not, I found a property that's up in the McDonald Ranch, and it, just to let you know, it's listed right here for $75,000 per month.
Wow, that's a pretty good bargain right there for $75,000.
What's interesting? What do you get for that? It's only
Yeah.
a 1-story. It's only 6 bedrooms. It's got 10 baths. And here's the part that freaked me out.
Yo!
It's got a 12 car garage on almost 4,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it located on D Street?
No, it's McDonald Highlands, you said, right? McDonald Ranch?
That's a McDonald's, right?
Yeah, it's on D Street. It takes
Be a
up
lot
D
less
Street,
than
C Street, F Street.
It's all of D Street.
You know those cheap ghetto homes of like $5 million.
Yeah.
So, in any realtors out there, they're giving a flat fee $8,000 for getting this place.
Is that what it is?
$8,000.
$8,000?
Rent it out.
75,000 a month.
That's a regular deal commission,
$75,000
man.
a month. And of course, these types of things are so
$75,000.
different than any type of rentals that the vast majority of anybody in this city takes care of. And one of the things I saw in here, it says here that you have to have proof of funds just to schedule a show. Just to even see it, you got to have proof of funds.
Yeah, I
Can
mean,
you
if want
imagine
that
paying
much
$1 million
money,
a year in rental?
That'd be like $7.7 million a year in rental.
Yeah. So, that's...
Or no, one, excuse me.
Hey, you know what's crazy though?
I did that
Listen,
times 100.
I'm going to tell you this thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it'd be like $1 million a year in rent. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say last time. I'm like, if you have a multi-million-dollar company and you need executives to stay here for something
Yeah,
or whatever it
all
is,
day long.
you can write all that off.
Dude, listen, there's
It's,
people.
it's all relative.
Wait a
Wait a
second.
second. You're not doing the math right.
No,
no,
I already
that's-
said that.
I was
just said
trying
that.
to-
I said
I was trying to
timed it by
interject, but I
100.
just let
It's
it go.
timed. No, I said, no, I just corrected myself.
It's all good, man.
Dude, you do the math.
Dude. No,
But
I
what
said,
I'm
yeah,
saying
timed
is,
it by
listen,
100,
people got
not
money,
10.
right? I see people's financials, and I'm not going to say details, but everybody seem like they got money, and they're all coming from California. So it's that
What kind of
California money
money,
coming.
though?
No, I'm not going to say like they're
Millionaires?
25 million deep. I'm just saying they're like they got
do
some
well.
assets. They got some options in life.
not worried about paying their bills.
No, I mean they have options, and look, they got the system in place. They're selling houses. They're selling something. They got money in the bank. Crypto. It's season,
Well,
man.
and
It's
that's
there. Look, we gotta think like how hard it was when we first bought our house. When I first bought my house, man, I was excited. I was like, man, I'm gonna go out and buy this. It was I bought a 1-car garage, 2-story home, right? Just to get in. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just got in. I wasn't even in real estate, nothing, just to get in, right? And I ended up selling for a good profit. And it's just, I remember those days where it's like, look, I had an opportunity. I went in. There was some support. The seller was willing to kind of work with me on the selling side for the closing costs.
It's a
Just
different market, man.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I feel bad because if you didn't get set up or you're not in a position, you're going to have multiple streams of income like we talked about to buy some of these houses here, man, or even rent.
Yeah, when I did it, this is again back in the 70s when I did it. We had to scrimp and save for years in order to come up with the down payment, and my monthly was like literally $189 a month, and it was on a 2-story condo.
Yeah.
And we had to scrape in order to make the.
I mean, that's the story of a lot of people, you know. And so you can.
That's what you still have
and
to
you,
do today.
and you can say, oh well, the situations are different now, so it's
It's the
harder.
same.
But I can also say, well, you can also make money online now, which you could never do in the past. Like
Well, look.
there's pros and cons of.
Assistance. I had somebody call me the other day and they said, "Hey, do you do down payment assistance?" Absolutely. Why? Because look, it's a harder loan, okay? But you got to take every opportunity, and it's got to be something where it's like, look, you have to understand that this is a privilege. Same for real estate. If they call me, "Hey, I want to, go see this property," whatever. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, it's a privilege for me to go down there. They might not buy with me, right? But it's a privilege, and I'm honored. And I think that's the thing we have to look at. These people are struggling. We're trying to figure out how to connect with them, how to help them, and I think that's going to be a continuous thing going forward.
Part of the problem is what you just brought up, is this flash syndrome. And so a lot of people that are looking to buy are seeing this flash and thinking that oh, I have to get into the 4 bedroom home, when that's not the case. If you're just getting into the market, man, look at the small ratty.
Well, but people don't want to settle
townhomes.
they don't want to settle for mediocrity, and that's fine. But you know what? Sometimes you got to get that 6 out of 10.
You got to do it, man.
I get it. You got to sometimes get 5 out of 10.
So,
Replace the 5 other things that you need.
Hey, social media isn't the truth.
If it makes anybody feel any better, I struggled for years.
God.
Hey, listen.
For years.
There's a
When
lot
I
of
was
people
poor,
that don't know
far
that.
more
Yeah,
than
no,
I've
I
ever
know.
had
Yeah,
anything in
thank
life.
God.
Far more
my
many
first
years.
house,
You know?
I couldn't only afford to pay my bills, and I only bought one pizza
Yeah.
and one slice a day
Yeah.
for a year.
There you go.
And I was an assistant.
Yeah.
as a
So you
restaurant.
got a large pizza and you had one piece,
One
slice of
slice,
piece every single day.
every single day for a year.
Wow.
Wow.
Because
Yeah,
I
man.
could not afford to.
Did you?
Dude,
You should
I've
have.
been there.
Hey,
Yeah.
you should
Where
have cut
did
it
you
up.
get
You
your
should have been
pizza?
like cut it 3 ways for that. So like
Oh,
one
let me-
piece
okay,
would have
let me
been
take
like
this back. And-
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And I had those shakes, those protein shakes. That was my food.
Yeah,
Vic,
more
we got to
years.
keep moving on. So I want to say real quick, you have anything else in the rental private, property management sector?
Private industry.
I could go on for hours and hours.
What's the
but
average rents right now? Let's just throw it out there.
We're still the same. We're probably about $1,750 a month average, and that's from like I said, from small 1 bedrooms all the way up to the stuff out in Lake Las Vegas.
What's the average waiting list for somebody like that? Is there a waiting period for somebody to rent a house like that?
Like what? Like on
Like-
this end or this end?
Well, any end. Any end. I would say on this end.
on the this
Summerland.
end they go right. They go instantly.
Yeah.
And anything over $1,500 a month, hey, you got some time. You can definitely find something out there.
Gotcha.
It's going slow.
Michael Saylor has like what 3.5 billion now in Bitcoin. So these people buy and they hold. So I mean, it's like anything. I mean, it's going to go up, it's going to go down.
Yeah, but it seemed like it's been going down a lot, and it just seems like
has.
the confidence.
And I mean, so
why though?
Well, so what I'm trying to say is this: is contrary to what you said earlier, there's a lot of people who are buying it because they're using it as a hedge and plan on using it as a hedge against inflation.
Yeah, so if
I'm
interest rates go up,
but what I'm saying is
average costs, then how is that going to help them?
Before they used to have bonds and everything that they're still investing in now for security, but now they're starting to also venture in, say, 5%, 10% into Bitcoin for the hedge of that. So what you're seeing right now, why is it going down 30%? Manipulation.
Right, and so why is it any different than the stock market then?
The reason that it's different is because the community of people that are in Bitcoin is so much smaller that when someone like an Elon Musk or whomever else that Brett mentioned wants to move the market, they can, because the market is so much smaller. And so it's much easier.
That's a little bit more risky
It's
for me,
open
though, I would think.
24/7.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's open 24/7. So you go to sleep, and these guys decide that they're going to move something. You wake up in the morning.
So I would say
and
this
you've got
is now a good time to
situation.
buy Bitcoin. If you have a long-term plan, which I think you should, then yes. If you have a short-term plan, take your chances.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think
basically,
is gonna
yes,
happen?
yes.
though?
It could go up 20%. It could down another 20%.
Yeah.
It could go down to 5,000. It could go up to
And that's
100,000.
the one thing that you need to consider. Is
Long
that
term,
there-
I believe it's going to hit $1 million.
is that there isn't the control by the governments to be able to control what's happening, like there is with the SEC. So there's a whole bunch of more risk involved in it. And I agree with Brett. If you're going to invest in anything, except if you're a day trader, you're going to hold. You should be looking at to hold long term, or at least as long as you can.
I mean, from when Bitcoin started to the last 10 years till now, it's up like over 1,000,000%.
So what did you buy your NFT for? And explain what that is.
So an NFT is a non-fungible token. All that means is that it's unique. It's itself. Like Bitcoin that's not a non-fungible, because you can exchange one Bitcoin for another Bitcoin. You can exchange one Ethereum for another Ethereum. An NFT is itself. There's only one copy of it, and that's it. And you own the rights to it.
Roblox on steroids.
So
right?
that can be applied to anything from music to copyrights in art to whatever it is, a million different ways. So
I mean, let's say this: some people buy them and they have them and they get their community and they're upwards of 350, 500,000,
like,
right?
So
Crazy.
Preston that we had on,
and
he bought that the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and he got his for like half a Ethereum in March. So at the time when he was here a couple months ago, it was like 180,000. That thing's worth like $500,000 now.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at Rick even almost jumped out of his chair.
Yeah, it's worth like
he said, wait a second. I saw his hair fly.
When he was sitting here, he'd gone from, what did he buy it for? Like 20,000 or
no, he bought it for like $2,000, $2,500.
And when he was sitting here, we checked it, and it had gone to 120,000.
Yeah, 120
or something. And now
And
you're
this
telling me,
wasn't-
It's like around 500.
This was an NFT.
Yeah. So the community that I'm in, I believe, has the potential to do that.
You got anything else to say about this show?
Hey, it was a great show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. If you need property management, give us a call, 702-916-2200, the Atlas Group.
All right, guys, this is the most real behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs. We're your source for real estate and financing, the number one source you want to look at for online. And that's it, guys. We'll see you guys on Saturday. This is Dan French. I'm out.
Adios.
Adios.